I'm pretty frugal, yeah, I'm not a spendy guy.
Oh man, frugal. That's a mouthful.
I see some stuff I want, and then I try to put it back on the shelf. Oh
Then I
my.
cry.
Hello friends, it's John from Saleosaurus, and I'm back at you again with another video walking around a store, maybe buying some stuff, who knows. This time we're at 2nd and Charles over in Covington, Louisiana, and I'm here with my buddy Chris. You got to hear a little bit of us singing. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording when we first started that beautiful melody. 2nd and Charles, one of those stores, doesn't give you bags unless you pay for them. And you know, we decided not to bring in our own bags because we believed in our ability not to buy anything. And well, I think it's going to become pretty clear that that was not what happened, and we should not have believed in ourselves. So here we are right at the front of the store, a whole bunch of Pop Mart style blind box plush thingies, and man, they got me right away. They knew what I was going to go for, and it's this Puppet Master Labubu. I believe I won't buy, oh no. So 2nd and Charles, kind of a combination of like a nerd pawn shop and a Books-A-Million. If you haven't been, it's definitely worth checking out. The bargains are not abundant in my humble opinion, but they do have a lot of really cool stuff, especially here in the front of the display cases. This is the area where they look at your items that you bring to try and sell them. And they also put all of the most expensive and I guess the best stuff in these display cases. And of course, I found something right away, that LaBlade Labubu type situation. And so that meant I got to carry it around the entire time I was there. Because there's no shopping baskets either. You just got your own little arms. And of course, I also found even more items right up here at the front. What is that I spot on the bottom shelf? Why, it's dead CCGs, my other kryptonite. You'll have to stick around to the end of the video to see what was in these delightful boxes of cards. Because yeah, I did buy them. I carried them around for the next, half an hour while we walked around the store, and I brought them home. So, check in at the end and you'll see what was in there. Was it great? What was it? You'll never know unless you skip to the end, I guess. They also had this really interesting Battlefield Earth box of cards. I kind of begrudgingly love the Battlefield Earth movie. I mean, it's objectively terrible, but just the idea of trading cards from that kind of universe seemed really interesting, but I just couldn't get myself to spend $40 for it when I saw that they go for less than that shipped on eBay. But one of these days, I'm going to come into the store weaker than this time, and I'm going to go home with that box of Battlefield Earth cards. Just you mark my words. It's very interesting that they have all of these loose trading cards up at the front. It looked like it was Pokemon, One Piece, and a little bit of Magic in there, but I didn't waste my time digging through those. One thing I do like about the store is the way that they have things sort of compartmentalized. We just walked past a whole section of Dungeons and Dragons items, and as I go through, you're gonna see some other things like that. I'll try and remember to point those out as we go. Here we are looking at more of the display cases with some of the higher end items. It's a lot of fun to look at those, partially because you're seeing theoretically rare stuff, but also sometimes you'll catch a glimpse of something a little bit crazy like that Batmobile cookie jar. I do like they have a community board there. Most of the events you're seeing probably have already passed. And then here in the back, They have a lot of, I would say most of their action figures, including this Larfleeze that Chris found. He was a little taken aback by the $90 price tag, but I think that's actually a pretty okay price for Larfleeze these days. I think there's a new one gonna come out pretty soon. I don't remember where I saw that, but my brain is telling me we're getting a new Larfleeze, so maybe it's best to hold off. But we've got a Toy Biz Punisher here, kind of barely hanging on the card back. I think that was like $12. Not too bad, you know, just like a little bit over what I would probably want to pay for it. And then they have, you know, a lot of loose figures hanging up in bags that are, I would say, relatively fairly priced. But it's so difficult to look at these, even with two hands, even if you're not holding, you know, 10 pounds of trading cards like I am. It's difficult because those little paper bags, they just want to tear off of the metal hooks and fall on the floor. You know, do you feel bad for me? You should. Now that we're losing a lot of our comic shops around here and GameStops are closing, Second and Charles may become the final bastion for brand new toys. They're the only place so far that I've seen the Loyal Subjects mask in person other than at conventions. And they also have a pretty large selection of Super 7. You can see these Thundercats figures. I guess those are at Target sporadically, so it's not the only place, but it's the only place I've seen Chitara and Snarf show up. And in addition to the new toys, they also have a pretty okay selection of, 90s stuff. You can see there's a bunch of Masters of the Universe 2000X series. If you can get around my pile of Labubu in my arms. They got a bunch of NECA stuff. They got it looks like the majority of the Walking Dead collection there. That 5-inch toy line from McFarlane from back in the day. And I've never seen these Power Stars Popeyes figures in person. I've seen them online, but just always feels weird to get blindsided by something new. You weren't expecting it. Look at that. You saw that thing fall? Somebody set me up. Thought their prices for these Motu figures were pretty fair. I think they were asking $25 for Trapjaw there. A little more for some of the others, if I remember correctly. I just noticed down on the floor that Castle Grayskull in the box from the same Motu 2000 series. That's a pretty sweet playset if you have room for it. And then here's some more of the Super 7 I mentioned before. You got some sweet reaction Godzillas and a Super Cyborg, all hanging out with even more Walking Dead stuff. I didn't really look at the video games, though they do seem to have a pretty good selection. I kind of stuck to the toys this time around, but if you guys want to see more of the board games and the video games and movies and music and stuff like that, just let me know. I'm your Huckleberry. I don't need much of an excuse to go back to the nerd pawn shop. I did linger here a little bit. They had a pretty cool looking Dark Magician Girl model kit that I now know they were asking about double what they should have been for it. But now I know it exists, so who knows? So now we got to kind of talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the Funko Pops. Now, you may already know that I'm not a fan of the Funko Pops, but I know there's a lot of folks out there that are, And if you're looking for them, Second and Charles has got you covered. They have them all over the store. They have them in just about every little curated section. And then they have several huge displays just of Funko, even under the comics here. I usually tend to steer clear of the comics because they're barely organized, and they're all usually unpriced. But I say that, but now every single one of these Archie joke books that they had was priced, I think, $15 a piece. And while I know there are some older Archie comics that have a high price tag, some of the ones with the really good sort of juvenile jokes on the cover, if you know what I'm saying, I don't think any of those was that. Had some really cool Loungefly backpacks. I know that a lot of folks collect those, so it's nice that you can see them in person. And I really liked a lot of these Godzilla plushes too. This whole wall, well, I didn't really linger on it, but it's all board games. And then I thought this little Exodia was kind of cool, but I think they wanted like 12 bucks for him. There are things I'll spend $12 on, but a tiny Exodia, not today, Satan. I was kind of in love with this little Time Wizard alarm clock. I don't need an alarm clock, but one that's shaped like a cute little fella, you know, that's pretty tempting. But I did put it back for 20 bucks this time. Maybe not next time. And I don't know how obvious it was walking in at the beginning how big this store is, but this place is massive. You know, you could easily spend hours wandering around looking at all of the books and comic books and movies and music. Even if you're not going to spend a dime, you could have a good time checking out this store. And here you'll see a few more of the curated displays that I mentioned before, that one with all comic book stuff. Here we have some animation. Bit of a broad term there, but you got to do, you know, what you got to do to fit in all the stuff. It was a Saturday when we went, so it was pretty busy. I tried to dodge around people as much as I could, but you can only do so much. We see Harry Potter section and next to the Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings. I guess those are pretty similar in some ways. I thought this kind of translucent Frodo was pretty sweet, but I am not a big fan of the Diamond Select figures, so I left him alone. Got a large Sanrio area there that I just kind of casually sped by. Oh no, here we go. There's a Star Wars end cap. Not exactly what I would call the peak of Star Wars action figures here. It kind of felt like the dregs, the leftovers. But, you know, to somebody that's exciting, maybe? I don't know if I overstated it before, but you'll see that I was not exaggerating. There are Funkos everywhere in this store. Here we have a whole bunch of horror merch, which I think the last time I was here, this was all Star Wars stuff. And that's been kind of relegated to the two left shelves in the corner there, and everything else is now Art the Clown and Chucky. Which I'm okay with that for the most part. And I've made my way now to the clearance corner, all the way in the back, kind of the darker area of the store, and it's full of things that no one wants. basket I was just poking away at had a lot of loose figures in it, but it was nearly impossible to look into. It was like overflowing to the brim. So I didn't really spend too much time with it. They've got Ollie's merchandise on clearance for more than Ollie's. Just to kind of give you an idea of what's back here in the clearance section at Second and Charles. I do like a lot of these really expensive board games. That Transformers deck building game was pretty interesting. And then they had a couple of gigantic box sets of Crossmaster Arena, which I'm only vaguely aware of. A friend of mine was really into that for a while. And so I recognized those, and I remember how much money he spent on the Kickstarters for those games when they came out. I don't mean to be completely negative here. I do really like the store. It's just a lot harder to find the good stuff. You have to spend a little bit longer digging through the large amounts of, I don't want to call it trash, but you know, there's more bad than there is good, in my personal opinion. This Forbidden Planet poster, though, is solidly in the good. And just because I'm leaving the clearance section doesn't mean it's over. There are toys all over this place, including some pretty interesting Disney blind boxes that my friend Chris ended up buying one of. It was a Mickey Mouse doing Kung Fu, which I thought was kind of cool. And then they have these little curated sections, which I think are meant to be more actual children's toys, but there's some non-kiddie stuff mixed in here, as you'll see soon. We got some Ninja Turtles items, including some NECA and some Playmates reissues, and some BST if you're into self-flagellation. Now, this is a reissue storage shell turtle there. And I think someone thought this was not a reissue Foot Clan figure, but it's actually from the 2000s. So the $70 price tag on that one is maybe a little bit high. I do really like these little arcade turtle blind boxes. I like the style on them. They I think are meant to look like Turtles in Time, or maybe the first arcade game. I'm not 100% sure. They were a little too rich for my blood. We have even more curated sections: Lego, Nintendo, Playmobil even, which I'm a very big fan of Playmobil. Even a die-cast rack here, which you don't see die-cast too much outside of Mississippi toy shows. And now we head to one of my favorite parts of Second and Charles. Up near the checkout counter, there is a huge section that's nothing but blind boxes. And they've got stuff here that I haven't seen anywhere in person at all. And it's a lot of fun to just kind of let your eyes wander and see what they get caught on. They have some Minions blockies. Not a real big fan of Minions, but I like blockies. Maybe Minions can be cool. This is one of the only items I've ever seen of Over the Garden Wall. Little plush hangers, pretty cool. Got maybe the largest selection of world's smallest items in one place. And I just noticed there an entire basket of loose Funko Pops. It's actually a great idea. Good job, Second Charles. And our final section to enjoy, right past all the snacks, are the trading cards. They do have some pretty interesting items here, including individually priced Valiant cards and music cards hanging on pegs. And this is where I found the Star Wars CCG deck box at my previous visit. Whoa, I just got back from Second and Charles, a store that it's real easy to kind of get lost in and spend, I don't know, 6 to 12 hours just sort of wandering around. But here's what I got. Here's what I brought home with me for myself to keep forever, or until I have a manic episode and decide to get rid of it. Okay, so the first thing that I decided to buy was this Puppet Master Backpack Charm La Blade. Clearly this is a Labubu. It's like a joke about Labubu in a toy. I really wanted to buy this the last time I was at Second and Charles, and I talked myself out of it. It wasn't cheap. It was like $30. So it's like, you know, oh, you're paying like actual Labubu prices for your blade Lafufu, I guess. But when I got home, I looked it up online, and I couldn't even find them for sale anywhere. So I kind of started feeling that scratching at the back of my brain, like, oh my god, you'll never see it again. So I decided if I ever went back, which I knew I was going to, I was gonna definitely get this thing. So you know what, let's see what he looks like. Let's get him out of this box. It's kind of, you know, it feels hefty. It's not a blind box. It's, you know, it's just him. But let's see what he looks like. I don't know what the crossover is of fans of Puppet Master and fans of Labubu, even ironically, but if there's one person, it is me. So, alright, well, we got this big, huge bag. This thing feels kind of gigantic. Oh, we got the tear tab. Good job, Full Moon Studios. Okay. Wow. Okay, he's actually gigantic. I'm kind of getting Babadook vibes from this guy. I mean, it feels like a Labubu. It really does. It has a lot of that, and the head doesn't turn, so you know it's not fake. You know. Oh, it's got the little tag on it to make sure we know what it's made out of, and it's got the little La Blade hang tag. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this thing. I don't think it's gonna be very practical to hang from my bag, but I guess if you see me in person, ask me where my La Blade is. That'll be real good way to let me know you've been watching these videos. So once I had that in my hands, of course, I immediately saw these other items that I decided to buy. Hopefully you've watched my video about the box of Star Wars CCG cards, because that was kind of what I was hoping for when I walked into Second and Charles today. I was hoping for some more like random trading cards, and I was not disappointed. So I found this Mantis Clan deck, Seeds of Decay, Legend of the Five Rings. I guess this is a starter deck of some kind from 2012, and it was $3. Look at that. I'm never leaving a starter deck behind for $3. That's just never gonna happen. Hopefully, if you know me, you know that. So I don't know what's in here, so we're gonna find out together. I mean, I assume it's just gonna be this Mantis Clan deck, but hey, it could be 17 Black Lotuses. Until I open it, it literally could be anything. This is Schrodinger's Mantis Clan deck. Okay. Hold your breath. Count to 10. Okay, well I see L5R cards, so it's not a Black Lotus on the top, at least. Now the real problem here is going to be that I do not know L5R cards very well. Alright, these are not These have definitely been played before. I mean, look at that. You can see there's some with different texture on them. I guess we'll go through these and y'all can tell me if anything looks really exciting. Okay, is there a rarity? Okay, I think this little symbol at the bottom is our rarity, so we're gonna hope for some more not white ones like that. We might just be getting this deck, and of course after I finish recording this I will I'll look up some of these and see if I can find out any info and add it after the fact. Okay, we got something different here. I think that's maybe a rare. Maybe that's like a star. Yoritomo Kanahashi. Alright, we'll put her... That's a suspected good card, maybe. Of course, if I see a foil or something, I'm gonna get... Well, I don't know if I'm gonna get excited or not, but... And of course, it is difficult to see that little symbol at the bottom. Oh, look, there's another rare. Sheltered Port. Okay. Is that? Yeah, that's a star. Yoritomo Sachina. Alright, we got... Or maybe this is not a... I don't know. We'll pull her out just in case. I guess I'll look through this right now on camera so you know what I actually found for sure, and then I'll look back through and try and sort it after the fact, just so that I don't actually miss anything. Suruchi Daikyo. I don't speak Japanese, but I did really like Shogun. So that one looks special. Guess we'll find out. I'll let y'all know before this video is over how we did on these cards. You know, I did not expect to get anything. First of all, I don't even know if there's much of anything in L5R that you can get that's extremely desirable or valuable, but I figured it was worth it for $3. You know, the experience was worth it if nothing else. So. Okay, so these are all the ones that have they're not marked as common or uncommon. Several of them are what I'm gonna guess is sort of a fix, like it comes in the starter deck every time, but I will let you know for sure before I'm done with the video. So then the next things that I bought, these were both together. It was these World of Warcraft TCG starter decks. If you haven't seen these before, they look like something that you would rent a DVD or a VHS in, right? Like they're these gigantic chunky things. I guess, you know, you could put it on your shelf and it'll look pretty cool, but these were also like $6.50, right? $6.40. You know, clearly full of cards. They actually weren't like taped shut or anything, so I was able to peek into one of them and see that there were cards in there, but beyond that, I haven't cheated. I am gonna experience these for the first time with you. So, okay, let's go for the first one here. So we got the starter deck, so it comes with the rule book here. Nice, cool collectible if you're into that sort of thing. Then also, I remember these from when I I played this card game. We got oversized hero cards. So every hero has a large version of it, or at least most of them do. And then when you flip them over, they have the full art. Once you use the power there, you can only use that once. Once you do that, you just have this beautiful art on the side. These are really cool, but they're not anything, there's no value in those. And then I see WoW TCG cards in here. It would be kind of cool if they weren't all WoW TCG cards, just because then maybe I would know what they did. The rarity on these is down at the bottom. I'm not going to try and look at that through the camera. It's just my old person eyes just don't quite work that way. But if I see something that stands out to me, I'll certainly point it out. The best thing we could get, I think, would be some kind of a loot card, but I can't imagine somebody trading one of those in to Second and Charles, which I probably already explained what Second and Charles is, but it's basically a nerd pawn shop, just in case somehow I didn't explain it. This game I really enjoyed. I didn't play it a lot, and when I did, it was definitely more on the casual side, but I think it was a well done game, and they had a lot of really high-end game design folks. Like that's got to be a rare. I mean, I don't know if it's valuable, but it looks like it could be. But you know, a lot of the cards in this game were really iconic, especially if you played World of Warcraft, or I guess just anything, you know, Warcraft of any kind. It was all very flavorful and just a lot of fun. I liked the resource system, and the art was great. So no clue if you know, if there's anything. Oh, there we go. I mentioned they had good game designers. If you don't know who Brian Kibler is, he's mostly well known right now for, well, I guess it's kind of come back around to him being more of a Magic guy, but there was a while there where he was all Hearthstone. At some point, he was a designer for this game, and so he got to like create his character. His actual World of Warcraft character was a card, and including his pets, because he was a hunter. And there you go, Kibler's Exotic Pets. Okay, well, you know, nothing too exciting in that pile, but it's also possible I missed something. Just like with the L5R cards, I will go back through and look them up and let you know if any of these ends up being anything too exciting. There's some of the heroes that we already saw. Yeah, most of these. So far, all of these have been heroes. That's interesting. Oh, there's Kibler's Hunter, Elendril. It's very, I don't know. I always thought that was really cool. Is what a neat idea to be able to not only immortalize your Warcraft character that you've spent so much time playing with, but also like you get to design that character, and then you get to see other people playing with your character. I think that's a pretty neat idea. Well, this stack is I think much less likely to have any kind of actual value in it, just being that most of what we've seen has been hero cards, which are all common as far as I know. But we got, you know, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't buy these cards expecting to get rich or anything. I just thought it would be fun to look at them, and of course, it would be amazing if we got real lucky and opened up some. Hey, Spectral Tiger mount. Hey, baby, is that still worth anything? I don't know. All right. Well, first box down. I guess the second box has its work cut out for it, but this one you can see is from a different set. This one was the first set that came out, the Heroes of Azeroth, and then this one is Drums of War. I don't know which in sequence that one was, but similar kind of deal. For some reason, this one was 35 cents more than the other one. And this is the one that I peeked in when I was at 2nd and Charles. So I know that there's at least a few non-WoW cards in here. But I didn't look at them closely. So we got another rule book. I assume very similar. Probably just has the new mechanics in there that they added for this set. We have our little like partitioned area here so you can keep your deck separated from, I don't know, your sideboard or something. Okay, so all right, look at that. Right off the bat, we got Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now I'm a liker of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I do know some of the good cards, but there's no way that I could ever know everything that people would get excited about. Like, I know that's a good card, but I also know that Yu-Gi-Oh reprints the heck out of their stuff, so I'll let you know if that one is worth anything. Okay. We got Pot of Avarice, Pot of Synonym there. Okay. Zombie Master. Okay. Pyramid Turtle, look at that guy. Oh my gosh, I love him. Okay. Waboku. Okay, and now we're back to the WoW TCG cards. For a second, I thought that one was a scratch off. If you're not familiar with that, there were cards you could get in this WoW TCG that had codes on them that you had to scratch off, and they would give you well, the ones everybody wanted were really exciting items in the game, in the actual World of Warcraft game, but there was also like cheap, not exciting ones. Yeah, this is not a redemption card that like I was talking about, but I guess this is some kind of a rewards program that they gave you. That's pretty cool. Hey, feel free to plug that in if it still works. I don't know if it does. All right, so that's first half done, and we got one more container. Oh, look at that. There's more Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay. All right. So we got Priestess Kaitana, or Katiana. Okay. Terraforming, Mist Body, Ribbon of Rebirth, Magnus Longbarrel, that's what they called me in high school, Plague Wolf, Paladin of the Cursed Dragon. I remember Cursed Dragon, don't remember Paladin of the Cursed Dragon. Let's see, okay. More Princess Katiana. Hopefully she's worth a couple $1,000, that'd be sweet. Okay, we got Spellweaver Jihan. The Lady in White. I like that. That's kind of a pun name. I don't know if she's good or not, but I like her name. Spell Shattering Arrow. We have an invisible card. Can you guys see it? I can't see it. We got Morn Salts the Land. See it? Oh, he's a hero. Okay. Elandra Moonspear. Asadana Almir. Okay, we got some UDE points. Cool. Bolstering our defenses. Another princess. Shrink. Regenerating Mummy. Ryu cocky. Alright, kid, don't get Ryu cocky. Got a few more there. It's very interesting that they're all mixed in like this. I guess it's somewhat believable that somebody would play both of these games. They were both made by Upper Deck, so I can remember going to some Versus System tournaments and there was Yu-Gi-Oh and WoW stuff going on. Golas Swiftwind. We got another turtle. That's exciting. Red Eyes Zombie Dragon, Magical Arm Shield. Yeah, I don't think we got anything great, but hey, I do remember this card. This is one of those cards that teaches you that paying life points can actually be beneficial. Isn't that great? Alright, so I looked up these L5R cards. First of all, we got this deck sealed is about $10, and it appears that all of these cards with this symbol on it right here, these are all sort of fixed cards, maybe. I don't know if that's what they call them or not, but you know, they come in the deck, and none of these are worth very much. Not a lot of value there. And then our only actual rares in the L5R were these 5 cards here. Unfortunately, none of them was anything too exciting. Here we have all of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were found in these 2 boxes of World of Warcraft cards. We had a couple of items that were, I don't know where bulk is cut off in Yu-Gi-Oh, but you know, this is like $1. These were both from some kind of structure deck. I believe all of these cards came from some kind of a structure deck. I'm definitely putting that info up on the camera. As I suspected, this is not worth anything, despite being a really powerful card that I recognized. And then the bulk of the cards in this lot were all from this Zombie World pre-constructed deck, even the Pyramid Turtle. So our only foil in here, also not anything of value. Not a big surprise there, not a huge letdown, but it is, you know, it would have been nice to get something cool. And then finally, the cards that took up the bulk of what we bought, there was actually only 5 cards in the entire selection of World of Warcraft cards that were not common or uncommon. We have these few rare, but the only one that had any real value, this guy was the only thing I could find that was, I think there were some listings for about $10, but of course no sold listings. So kind of as I suspected, we didn't get rich, but we had fun. And, you know, that's all I really expected at the end of the day. So back to you, John. Well, that's everything I got from 2nd and Charles. I hope you had a good time wandering around that place with me. Like I said, it's one of those places that I don't go too often, but when I do, I almost always find something cool. And, you know, let me know what you thought about it. And until next time, let's all try to be cool. And I'll see you again soon with some more stuff.